Hi, I'm Marnie Schmidt, and I'm a real believer in operational excellence and quality. My mission is to help people like you build quality systems that improve not only their quality, but the customer experience so that you'll be a believer too. In this series, I'm breaking down all of the requirements in ISO 9001, and we're going to be tackling leadership today, the whole element 5. In every video, I give you one good reason to trust me, and today we're going to talk about the fact that I used to be a managing partner of a steel company, a steel service center in the Detroit area, and at that time I was able to achieve the very first registration to TS 16949 in North America. So that standard has come and gone, but we were the first service center in North America to achieve that. So I have worked in industry and I have been part of this leadership committee, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's just dive right into leadership. 5.1.1. Top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to the quality management system by, so this is talking about not just the quality department or not just the person that is responsible for this management system, but the entire top management. This is where they have to get involved. Again, we're all the way up to element 5. We've covered a lot of ground here, and it hasn't really been handed over to the maintenance portion or to the quality person or the management system representative yet, because there's still a lot of work to do. This is going to be a little bit lengthy because there is a lot of content here, but let's just start with management's first bit of responsibilities. They shall demonstrate leadership and commitment by doing these things. There's a lot of them. A, by taking accountability for the effectiveness of the quality management system. Who's accountable? Oh, top management is accountable. Not the person who is, not the document control coordinator or the quality manager or the operational excellence director. It's still in the hands of top management. B, by ensuring that the quality policy and quality objectives are established for the quality management system and are compatible with the context and strategic direction of the organization. Love this requirement because it plugs right in. We're not starting in some weird place and saying, oh, well, we've got to write a quality policy for whatever reason. No, we're going to establish a policy and objectives for running our business that mesh with the strategic direction of our company. So we're not planning this in a bubble. We're not doing this in an office. We're doing it as a part of the way we're running our business. So very, very important that everyone understand top management is responsible for that. C, we're responsible for ensuring the integration of the quality management system requirements into the organization's business processes. Again, this is not the quality management system is running over here in some weird alternate universe. No, no, no. It's got to be plugged in exactly with the business processes and exactly how the business is running, and it's management's responsibility to do that. D, we have to show leadership by promoting the use of the process approach and risk-based thinking. So this is management. Management has to require of its folks, we are going to have processes, we're going to use processes, and we're going to consider our risk at every stage. Next, we have to make sure management ensures the resources needed for the quality management system are available. So as we are designing these processes, we had that kind of earlier that it was mentioned, and it's here again. It's management's responsibility not only to design those processes, but to make sure they're funded and resourced with whatever they need to be successful. Next is F, management is responsible for communicating the importance of effective quality management and of conforming to the quality management system requirements. So it's management's responsibility to get that message out there that we need to understand the effectiveness of the quality management system. So they need to be asking, hey, how's this system working for us? And hey, everybody in the organization needs to know that you are all responsible for doing your part to conform to the management system, because we designed it for the purpose of making sure we have the best products and services that money can buy, the best things that we can have out there. Next, management is responsible for ensuring that the quality management system achieves its intended results. So we've got to be, again, looking at it, and is it achieving the results? And if not, then we need to figure out why. Next, we're responsible for engaging, directing, and supporting persons to contribute to the effectiveness of the quality management system. So that's us. We're the ones that are pushing the ball forward. We're the ones that tell everyone within the organization, you need to understand this, and you need to make sure that you're participating. And also I'm going to have my eyes on it and make sure that we're achieving the results that we're looking for. Next, management is responsible for promoting improvement. So it's up to management to constantly be challenging everybody to get better and better. It's never just good enough to like meet a goal and go, okay, we're good enough. No, we want to keep going toward world class and getting better than our competitors, better even sometimes we're the best in a business. All of us likes to think that our company is the best. And if so, then we need to compete with ourselves and make ourselves do even better. Next, management is responsible for supporting other relevant management roles to demonstrate their leadership as it applies to their areas of responsibility. So it's up to the top management to push this message throughout the organization and cascade it to make sure everybody understands their roles, responsibilities, and everybody is involved in the quality management system. There's a note here also for clarification. Reference to business in this international standard can be interpreted broadly to mean those activities that are a core to the purpose of the organization's existence, whether the organization is public, private, for profit, or not for profit. So this is talking about running it as a business. And sometimes if you think not for profit, you're like, well, if there's no profit, I guess it's not really a business. Absolutely, it could be a business. And so it's just kind of making clarification there. This can apply to all of it. Business means just kind of the management and overall operation of whatever the organization is doing to achieve an intended goal. Next is customer focus. This is still top management's area of responsibility. Top management is expected to be customer focused. 5.1.2. Top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to customer focus by ensuring that three things. A, customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements are determined, understood, and consistently met. That's on management. It's management's responsibility to make sure they understand these requirements and make sure that we're constantly meeting them. B, that the risks and opportunities that can affect conformity of products and services and the ability to enhance customer satisfaction are determined and addressed. We talked about that before in context of the organization in 4.1 and 4.2. We were talking about understanding our interested parties, understanding the internal and external issues and the needs of everybody involved, our customers, our communities, our internal needs and requirements, all the regulation and requirements. This is all on management to make sure that that is done. And then the third thing, management is responsible for ensuring that the focus on enhancing customer satisfaction is maintained. So this is a message that has to come from management continually to tell everybody we have to focus on enhancing customer satisfaction. Again, what business is going to be able to survive long term and thrive if there isn't a constant focus on enhancing customer satisfaction? You have unhappy customers, they're not going to stick around for long. So it is management's job to make sure they're constantly telling everyone we have to focus on improving that customer experience all the time. So how are we going to do that? Again, the requirements in this standard don't give us the steps of how to do things, but they do have a couple of requirements that management is also responsible for doing as it applies to a quality management system. 5.2.1, establishing the quality policy. Top management shall establish, implement, and maintain a quality policy that does all of these things. Four things. We have to establish, implement, and maintain a quality policy that A, is appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization and supports its strategic direction. So yes, we do have to have a quality policy. How do we do that? We need to make sure we're focusing on the purpose and context of our organization and whatever our strategic direction is. Next, the policy has to provide a framework for setting quality objectives. So we need to write our policy in such a way that we're trying to achieve something. C, includes a commitment to satisfy applicable requirements. So our quality policy, however we define it, needs to include that we need to satisfy all requirements. And D, the policy needs to include a commitment to continual improvement of the quality management system. So as this goes, it doesn't tell you exactly what you need to do, but it kind of does. It's got some pretty clear things that need to be, when you're writing a quality policy, it needs to, the first part is, okay, we need to talk about our strategic direction. The next thing is we've got to make it so that we are trying to achieve something, and that's going to lay the framework for having objectives. It needs to include a commitment to satisfy all requirements. So we need to have some language in there that says we're going to meet or exceed all of our customers and all requirements by statutory and regulatory, however we want to write that. And then the next thing, it needs to include a commitment to continual improvement. So yes, there needs to be language in there that says, and we also are committed to continual improvement. So that's kind of it is a little prescriptive in that we do have to have that in our quality policy, but it is management's responsibility to write a quality policy that introduces to the world and or to new employees or whatever, and whoever we're telling about our company, we have this policy. It is the company's policy that we will meet all expectations, be customer focused, continually improve, strive toward 0 defects and 100% on time, or whatever it is. That's what our quality policy needs to say. Something like that that kind of lays out for everybody, what are we doing here? What are we trying to do? 5.2.2, communicating the quality policy. The quality policy shall, A, be available and maintained as documented information. Okay, so you asked, do we have to write it down? Yes, you have to write it down. B, be communicated, understood, and applied within the organization. This is a really challenging thing. You can communicate it. You communicate this stuff over and over and over again, and people just can't seem to consistently remember. When you say quality policy, everybody's like, I don't know, I think we have one. But really, it's just communicating, why are we here? What are we trying to achieve? And being able for people to kind of be able to say that out loud. And then the third thing is it must be available to relevant interested parties as appropriate. So a lot of companies will post it in their lobby or put it on their website. So everybody is aware of what your quality policy is, what you're trying to achieve, what your company is committed to as an employee or as a supplier. You need to make sure that you understand that and know how to participate in that. And then the final section of element 5 is organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. So in this section, again, top management has been responsible for defining what our processes are, what our objectives are, that we have a quality policy, what everybody's role is on that, and everybody's responsibility, and that we're always going to be focused on continual improvement. Well, now it's got some specific things that roles and responsibilities need to be defined. Now, again, this is not a quality-centric requirement. This is a management-centric requirement. And who doesn't want to work for a company who really has these things clearly defined? It's kind of hard to work for a company when you've got 3 bosses, or you don't know who to go to to get an answer. You don't know who's making decisions. This requirement is very clear for management that the expectation, these things need to be done. And these are, again, really good requirements for any type of business. They're not just about quality, but they're just for good sense business best practices. So let's jump in. Top management shall ensure that the responsibilities and authorities for relevant roles are assigned, communicated, and understood within the organization. So that means that, yes, we've got to define everything, we've got to communicate it to everyone, and everybody needs to understand what the roles and responsibilities are. Next requirement, top management shall assign the responsibility and authority for, so at the very least, these things need to be assigned. I mean, you don't have to have necessarily go into the kind of detail that, you know, who takes trash out or something like that, but at a very minimum, you've got to do these things. A, ensuring that the quality management system conforms to the requirements of this international standard. So you have to define who or many people are responsible for ensuring that the management system complies with everything in this international standard, if you want to call yourself compliant to it. B, ensuring that the processes are delivering their intended outputs. So management needs to be responsible for soliciting input and making sure they understand, are we achieving the outputs or objectives and results that we were looking for? That's not somebody else's job. That's not the quality director's job. This is management's job to understand that. C, for reporting on the performance of the quality management system and on opportunities for improvement, in particular to top management. So who's responsible for doing that? We need to identify a person or persons responsible for reporting on the performance of the quality management system and the opportunities for improvement, and making sure that management is constantly aware of those things and hopefully urging them along. D, they're responsible. We have to make sure we identify someone who is responsible for ensuring the promotion of customer focus throughout the organization. I would argue that that should be everybody in top management. I would think everybody should have that responsibility somewhere in their job description. And next, ensuring that the integrity of the quality management system is maintained when changes to the quality management system are planned and implemented. So this is going to be introducing, they kind of sneak change in here. Some of these things they write paragraphs and run-on sentences and la 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 about things, and then change is just kind of always slipped in there. But change is one of those things that it'll get you in trouble with documents, it'll get you in trouble with processes, it'll get you in trouble with training. If you don't manage change properly, this is where the wheels can totally come off the bus, is when you're trying to implement changes. So there it is. A requirement here that we first identify who is responsible for making changes and making sure that they don't negatively impact the quality management system. That can be person or persons. It can be distributed amongst, if you are responsible for a particular process, then you would also be responsible for all the changes to that process. But that needs to be defined definitely within the organization. So that is all the things that leadership has to do. It's a lot. And again, we haven't handed this off to anybody for maintenance yet. We're still building this management system, and it's all about how we're going to operate our business and who's involved and interested, and what do our processes look like? What is our management team responsible for? Do we have, you're going to make decisions about this, and you're going to make sure that we don't make mistakes if we make changes to things, and this group is going to make sure that we're meeting our objectives. So that's got to be formally introduced, decisions made about it, and identified. So that is all of Section 5 for leadership. Next up is planning. So now we kind of know who's going to do what. Now what's required for planning of our management system and our processes. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, keep improving.